man, you mind if I talk with you?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm videoing you too because I just asked you a question. Where'd you get your flag?
Right there.
Oh, you sold it? Oh, they're selling them? How much is it?
I don't know. I didn't ask. I didn't
Oh, you had to
care.
pay for it, right?
Yes.
Okay, but you know how much it was?
No.
I was thinking about $10 or something.
Probably like $10, something. Like
Yeah. So obviously you love Trump, right?
that. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
This guy's
Are you?
a pro-Biden dude, and he's trying to get you to tip up.
I'm not trying to convince anybody.
So who are
I
you
just wanna
with?
talk-
What are you after?
As I told
He
her,
started asking me what I was doing a decade ago and who I was voting for.
Okay.
And he's
What-
gonna take you out of context.
well, before you just believe her narrative, let me tell you what I'm telling. She's,
It's called Stop.
what I'm. So she's holding a sign, "Stop the Steal." So I went up to her and I asked her what the sign is about, and if she thinks they're stealing, you know, just ask her general questions. I asked her. She asked me where I'm from. I told her here, and I asked her the same questions. There's nothing that I didn't ask her that she didn't ask me. So.
Are you a private citizen or are you with any group?
Yeah, no, I'm a private citizen. But I noticed your flag, and I'm just talking with people who really support Trump and wanted to find out about this election. Obviously, Biden has been given the electoral votes. Do you think that's legitimate?
Obviously,
Well, yeah, he won the electoral.
no.
So what's
No,
it?
no.
So what's the current?
No, I don't think that's a fair way to put it. You're saying it's obvious. So
Yeah.
you know for a fact that there was absolutely no fraud in other words.
Well, there's been no fraud proven at this point.
What do you mean by proof? What
Well,
exactly are you
I mean, there's no evidence of fraud.
Well, no,
I mean-
there is plenty of circumstantial evidence for fraud.
Well,
There's no question about
Well,
it.
circumstantial is not factual.
Right, but see, that's the thing. As far as solid evidence that you're going to get, that's going to come out in the court, right? If that exists, that would come out in an investigation.
Right.
And that's something that the Supreme Court would decide. As far as we are concerned, right, of course, we're not going to have that, but, you know, let me put it to you this way,
Yeah.
okay? You can think about it analogously in this sense. Let's say that you go home, right? Let's say you have a dog, you go home, and you see that, you know, you have trash all over the floor in your kitchen, and the trash bag is open.
And the dog's the only
Okay,
one there.
And the dog's the only one there.
Got
Now,
it.
you didn't see the dog do it, okay? But that doesn't mean that you can't claim, like, well, common sense and prudence dictates that there is evidence that, you know, the dog was the one that did this, right? That's the most reasonable explanation. That's what we have at the moment. There's plenty of circumstantial evidence that shows that there may have been fraud.
But if there hasn't been, then you can accept the results.
Of course, but
Okay.
that is something that has to be determined through an investigation.
So you're-
because when you have circumstantial evidence, then logically what that calls for in a system of justice is that it must be investigated and determined whether or not the fraud took place. I'm not going to claim that I don't have the evidence personally. Okay? Now, from my standpoint, it certainly seems that fraud has taken place. Because of the analogy that I told you, I see plenty of circumstantial evidence and suggestions that there has been fraud. That is enough, I think that's sufficient to call then for an investigation.
Right. But if there isn't any fraud, then you're cool with the results and you can accept it.
Of course, because
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
the whole purpose of a democracy. But we have to establish that no fraud has taken place.
Right,
We
right,
have
right.
to establish that the system is legitimate. That's what we're all about. That's what we're for here.
Right.
All right, but I don't think it's fair to say that obviously there has been no fraud. No, I don't think that either extreme position should be taken. You cannot say at this point that it is obvious that fraud has or has not taken place. I think you can say reasonably from a common sense point that it seems very likely that fraud has taken place, but until that's proven, you cannot claim definitively one way or another. But that is something that has to be shown. That's what we're calling for.
So a couple of questions. So are you from Austin? Do you live here?
No, I drove in from Houston.
Oh, from Houston.
That's right.
What made you come to Austin when there's probably stuff going on in Houston?
Well, the purpose of these rallies, so
You got notified there was a rally?
yes, it's stopthesteal.us.
Oh, I see. And
So
they said
this is an organized grassroots
I see,
program.
okay.
And so,
but that's not happening in Houston then.
no, it's happening at every state capital
Oh,
today
got
at noon, every Saturday, at least until this is determined, maybe
I
until
see.
inauguration.
Okay.
However,
So I got another question to ask you. So
Sure.
So are you single? I mean, do you have like,
I'm married.
you're married?
Yes.
So does your wife agree with you?
Yes.
And how about your larger family, like your
Yes.
your brothers and sisters?
Mostly,
so
yes.
You're, all guys are all.
Mostly, yes,
so
for
with
the most
anybody that doesn't agree with you, how is your relationship with those people?
Fine. They're family.
Yeah. Cool. Because there's a lot of family that's just a lot. It's just hell, you know, with a lot of families
Right.
that can't talk to each other anymore and shit like that. So
Right.
yeah, so it's cool. Okay, well, appreciate the time, man.
All right, yeah, no
All right, thank you.
problem.
We'll talk.